And he said, oh, this concert, Boston Calling. And I said, oh, are you in a band? And he said, yes. And I said, what band? And he said, Walk the Moon. And I'm like, sorry, I have no idea, I'm 47. And I said, do you have a song? And he goes, well, yeah. Oh my God, it's like the guy from the, this song. So here's what's fascinating. When we got to talking, and he realized that I was that lady in the TED Talk about the 5-second rule, he said, I have a story for you. He said, that's my favorite TED Talk. He'd been playing the bass guitar since he was 16. And he had been lucky enough to get a job as a sound engineer, traveled the world. And the problem is that he was making great money, he was touring with Madonna, he even toured with Whitney Houston, living the life, yet his soul kept saying, you're supposed to be on stage. You're supposed to be on stage. 4 years ago, a text comes through, hey, we're starting a band, Walk the Moon, are you in or are you out? And for years he'd been turning him down, he'd seen the TED Talk, and he said, 5-second rule, I'm in. Quit. He was at Red Rocks. And he said he quit because it had always been his dream to play at Red Rocks. Long story short, this was him 3 weeks ago, playing for the first time at Red Rocks. Yes. Or it could be like Stacy, who I met in the gym this morning, who was on the Stairmaster, and I get off the treadmill, and she's like, oh my God, I've been wanting to reach out to you and have you come talk at this thing. Boom, connection made, 5-second rule. Or this lady, L.A. Rankin, who finally went through all of her parents' photos.
Mel, you've inspired me to go through all of the old slides my parents kept. 5-second rule, baby.
You see this go viral? The two Todds. So the quick story here, the guy in the front is the father of the bride, had a horrible relationship with the guy in the back. He had married his ex-wife, fought for a decade. So here's the father of the bride walking up the aisle, 5-second rule. It hits him, the language of the soul. You should grab him and bring him too. Goes viral, creates a huge, amazing conversation. I know I get choked up whenever I see this. So how do you use the 5-second rule to actually grow your business? Because this is a business about relationships. Number one, always be a fan. I'm going to quickly tell this story because I need to speed through this stuff so we can make time for an exercise that we're going to do in a minute. But anybody recognize this guy? That's John Legend. In 4th grade when he won the state spelling bee competition. So I'm going to use this thrill of a lifetime. I got to meet John Legend about 3 weeks ago on my birthday. And here was the moment that we met. Notice, he's looking at me kind of like, who is this chick? Right? We hadn't been introduced. There were 5,000 people watching. He didn't even know my name. He had just given a talk about his new foundation around mass incarceration, very serious talk, and now he's supposed to go and sit down next to me and talk. And we were supposed to talk about marketing, but here's the deal. When you're a fan, you're going to use 3 principles. You're going to always compliment the person. Always. Why? Because compliments activate dopamine. It feels just as good as if you hand somebody cash as a prize. So I complimented him on his foundation. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to ask lots of questions. Why? Because when you ask questions, it creates the opportunity for resonance, which is that moment where you're at a party and you're like, where are you from? And you're like, Cleveland. And you're like, oh my God, my brother, sister's cousin's from Cleveland. That's amazing. And you immediately feel connected. And also, there is interest. If you show interest in somebody, if you're rooting for them, they will root back for you. Be fans of everybody in your life, particularly of your customers, even the people that say, no, I don't do pyramid schemes. Be their fan and they will come around. And for extra points, touch. Look at that. I had used those 3 things. I was interested, I complimented him, boom, now we're holding hands. Best moment of my night. Oh, don't do this though. Don't do this. Don't, like I broke every single cultural protocol there. You only touch kind of from here to here, and anyway. Yes, Taylor Swift has done a great job of this. Notice what she did all summer long, celebrating other people. Why would she do this, by the way? She's already a superstar, because guess what? When Ellen DeGeneres and Kobe Bryant walk on stage with you, they tweet it out to their fans. When people buy something from you, take photo, put it on social media, celebrate them. It's a way to drop breadcrumbs in a massive fashion. We do this all the time at CNN, which is why it's so fun to work there. I see somebody in an airport, because that's the only time most people see CNN. I take a photo, I tweet it out, I congratulate my friends. Follow that, steal it. Steal it. Steal it for people on your team. You guys are not in competition with each other, by the way. It's a huge world. There's enough room for everybody to not only succeed, but have their dreams come true. You are only in competition with yourself. This is something else to practice. I call it radical gratitude. My husband's introverted, I'm extroverted. I finally, after 18 years, went to the Container Store and we bought a freaking closet. Okay? I was so happy that for a week I used to say, oh my God, the closet's amazing, that it became a joke in our house, until everybody realized that there's huge power in acknowledging the things about your life and your business that are working. And it's contagious. And so we now call it the closet's amazing. So whenever anything good happens in our family, we say the closet's amazing. So finally, we've talked about the 5-second rule. We've talked about how the brain is against you. We've talked about the fact that the 5-second rule is a way to tune into the language of your soul, which is always guiding you and always guiding you correctly. Why? Because it is programmed by the 1 in 400 trillion part of you. It is the unique part of you. It's guiding you. Listen to it, and the 5-second rule will help you. The only other thing that will stop you from reaching your dreams is fear. And fear is very real when you're building a business and when you're putting yourself out there. So let me tell you, as a lifetime anxiety sufferer, somebody that has learned to live with fear, that now has 2 children that have anxiety, I know a ton about fear, and I know how to become fearless. Everybody's got fear wrong. There's only 2 kinds of fear. Only 2. And the other thing about fear that we have wrong is that we think that fear and danger are the same thing. They're not. There's nothing dangerous about building a LifeVantage business. Sorry, I don't know how bad your neighbor is, but this doesn't live next door to you. Okay, that's danger. You're selling life-changing products and creating business opportunities for people. Nothing dangerous about that, okay? Also, failure, fear and failure. Everybody thinks they're afraid of failing. Not so. How many of you have failed? Raise your hand. You're still here? And you probably learned something from it. Failing is part of the problem, or part of the process. In fact, let me show you something. You know how we did this earlier? J.K. Rowling. You know the story with her, right? 12 rejections, unemployed, homeless, moved in with her mother, divorced, almost homeless. I mean, and she's writing a book on a napkin. What she said, she talks a lot about failure, is that life is about failure. And imagine how lame of a life it would be if there were no failure at all. And look at this. You know how we talked about this earlier? So I gave this TED Talk, 5 million people have seen it. I spelled that, I actually got the wrong number in my talk. I put 400 billion. Lots of people pointed out, do you think the fact that I failed in that regard lessened the impact? Of course not. In fact, I was actually really wrong. This scientist emailed me and he said, when I actually look at the calculation based on history and the odds of sperm hitting, it's could be 1 in 400 quadrillion. And then when we add it all up based on a bunch of other factors, it's a number this big that I can't even say. So you're even more than 1 in 400. I was totally wrong. Who cares? Who cares? You spend so much of your life trying to get it right that you don't live your life.
That's true.
So here's the 2 kinds of fear. There's only 2. The fear of death, which is hardwired and it's triggered by the unknown. Paralyzes you. If you're afraid to make a phone call, that's the fear of death. You don't know how it's going to go. You're paralyzed. If you're afraid to have a conversation with somebody that's in your upline or downline, because you don't know how it's going to go, that's the fear of death. You're paralyzed. In those moments of hesitation that define your life, if there's an unknown, the paralysis will kill you. If you're in a relationship, by the way, where you can't have the hard conversation, that's the fear of death. If you don't raise your hand at work, that's the fear of death. It's the unknown that is paralyzing you. That's one fear. The other fear is FOMO. It propels you. It's the fear of missing out. Only two. Only two fears. Not the fear of success, fear of failure, fear of heights, fear of elevators. Nope. Fear of the unknown, which is the fear of death, it paralyzes you. Or the fear of missing out. This is a huge thing for you to get in your bones. I need a volunteer. Now, everybody that's raising their hand has FOMO. Okay, I don't want anybody with FOMO, but thank you, I love you. I love you for coming up, but I'm not going to take you, because you were not in. We're going to find somebody who's hiding. Yep, and notice as I start walking, see, he's got FOMO. He thinks something cool is going to happen. As I start walking, if I start to get sort of closer to you, the fear grows. Because the unknown is getting closer. And if I turn and start going this way, all the people that thought that they were off the hook now suddenly aren't. I know he's walking up to me. You've got FOMO. There's no way you're coming. That's nice to meet you. Thank you. I know there's people hiding. She would be good? Okay. No, we got you. Anybody have a man in their life that needs a confidence breakthrough?
Pick one.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Who do we got? Hi. Good. I don't know if you're going to be good or not. Let's see. Do you have a mic? Okay. Hi, Victor.
How you doing?
Good. On a scale of 0 to 10, how nervous are you right now?
About a 6.
Not good enough. Okay.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you doing?
0 to 10. How nervous would you be if I picked you?